Well, welcome back to another episode of Whitney's World podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Morgan Ward, and I am so thankful that you've tuned in wherever you're at on this planet. Thank you so much for listening in to another week. This is my 53rd episode. I am absolutely so happy to be here. I can't wait to bring you guys this message and to just really share with you what I have been going through and learning. I have felt like this past week has been absolutely crazy for me. I've been in my own head a lot. I have been really, I don't know, it's so hard sometimes to like really be vulnerable because I never know who's listening to this, but I've really been learning this week about detachment and really trying to just be okay with what is going on in my life, even though I can't see the end result. And it's so interesting because I feel like detachment is something, one, that we're not taught. We really are taught to attach ourselves to things and to, go find the people and find the job and the career that you're going to work in for forever. Like, we're very attached to people, places, where we live, our careers, our past. Like, we're very, very attached to things, and it begins to suffocate so many parts of our lives. It suffocates so much that is trying to happen for us to unfold because we're just clinging on to either parts of ourselves or certain situations. And on top of that, like attachment, we're talking about like physical, but also attaching ourselves to these things opens a energetic portal that we can't even see, but that energy sometimes can be so strong, and those energetic cords of things that we're holding on to that we're not meant to hold on to anymore, that we literally hold on to it so tight that that energetic cord just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because where you place your attention, energy flows. So when you're constantly spiraling out of control, or your mind is like racing, or there's just so much going on inside your little mind and heart, those energetic cords are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what happens is they end up causing just so much turmoil in our life, because it's so hard to let go of these things when not only we're attached to them in the physical, but then energetically we're also attached to these things. And these energies are so strong in our energetic field that sometimes it's like so hard to just let go. And it's so hard to move on, because there's so much going on in this one situation or many situations in our lives. And so you're literally being suffocated. Your life is suffocating because you're not able to detach and let go. So if you resonate with this, I am sure at some point, whether it's been a breakup, whether it's been a friendship, whether it's been a career path, whether it's been you wanting to move, anything, there's been a time in your life where you felt and you knew deep in your soul that you needed to detach, and you just couldn't do it. So I want to talk today about that. That is what this whole show is going to be about. That's what this entire episode is going to be about. It's going to be about detaching and really listening to your higher self, allowing your higher self to show you what you need to do, and just being okay with detaching. And I can tell you guys right now that as I'm teaching you this, I am listening to myself. What is coming out is also what my higher self wants me to know. I don't have that many notes. I'm really just today going to talk to you guys about a story of detachment that just happened in my life, physically and energetically, which is super cool. So we will get into that, but also just detachment in general and how I personally in my life have had to detach from things that are no longer serving me. And though these situations served me for a purpose because I needed to learn a lesson, I had to detach and I really had to be okay with letting these things go. I want to tell you guys about a story. And if you have been listening to Whitney's World, you know that I am all about signs and wonders. I feel like signs in life are so powerful, and I'm always looking for signs. It gives me joy and peace, and it makes me believe in the magic in this realm that we live in this universe and on this planet. I do 100% believe in magic. It's happened to me. It's been shown to me. And so I'm always looking for the magic in this world because it makes me feel better. I like to call them like glimmers of hope, or just these experiences that come to you and are just sent to you to make you smile and to just continue to show you that this world is meant to live, that your life is literally meant to experience all the signs and wonders. So 2 weeks ago, I told my story of how I ended up in Florida, my tragic breakup that I had to go through, and all of that. And I had quite a few people tell me, once you tell that story, like, that's it, and I was really holding on to that story. I was really holding on to that part of my life because I was trying to protect myself. I wanted to make sure that when I told the story that I was not hurt, that I was not angry, and that I could tell my story from a place of love, self-love, and self-respect, and okay. I just wanted people to know that in life, you can go through these horrible traumatic experiences. And again, I believe that experience was a big signal to me because I was not listening to the other signals. And so my world sent me a massive signal to wake me up. And so that's exactly what happened. I woke up and now here I am. So anyway, I told this story and then I ended up going to a conference, meeting incredible people, and having such an amazing weekend that just made me so happy to be alive. And it made me so excited for the future and to just continue to find like-minded people, to continue to seek out things that make me feel good and that I can go and surround myself with other amazing human beings. So anyway, at that conference, I ended up going to a reggae show, and I had like a small purse, and my bestie, Kristen, she didn't want to bring her purse. So I ended up having my Louis Vuitton wallet inside my purse. And so I took out my ID and my card because I knew that we needed like all the space in my purse for our phones. Like if we didn't want to hold them, like I didn't want to drop the wallet in there, and like, I didn't want any of that. So which I also haven't been drinking, so it wasn't like I was drunk when I did this. I took my wallet out and I put it in the glove box of my friend's rental car. The night goes on, we go home, whatever. I end up coming home the next day. I recorded my podcast, doing my thing. Well, Tuesday, I am going to show a house and I couldn't find my wallet. And you guys know now what happened. So I walk out to my car, I open my door, and I literally had a vision of me putting the wallet in the glove box in the rental car. And I was just like, what in the world? Like, I couldn't believe that was one of probably the most clear visions I've ever had in my life. And my parents, I grew up always finding things. Like if someone lost something, my family called me the finder. They're like, go get Whitney. She's going to find it. And I really believe that now that I'm like on my spiritual awakening, I believed that I manifested things back and they would just like show up. So I was always finding things. So I never had visions, but this time where I'm like, where is my wallet? Like I didn't have my ID. I didn't have cards. I had like a couple dollars of cash, but I'm like going to be showing houses. I need money. What if I need gas? What if I need a water? Like, of course, what if I need to eat? Like something, anything I need in my wallet. So I end up having this clear as day vision and I knew exactly where I left my wallet. And so at first I kind of started panicking. I got super anxious in my stomach. I just like I reached out to my friends and I'm like, "Hey, can you guys help me? I left my wallet in the car." I knew I had, one of my cards cuz I had taken it out, but I didn't know where that was. Like everything, I just literally started spiraling out of control and I ended up like not knowing what was going on. And I'm like, why in the world would I leave my Louis Vuitton wallet in a glove box? I've never done that before. I've never forgotten it. Like, I've had it for, I don't even know how long I've had this wallet. A long time, like since 2021 February. And so, like, over 3 years. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why would I have done this? Why would I leave my wallet? I just put it there. It was like I was giving it away. It was like I, on a subconscious level, was just done with it. And I ended up like talking to a few of the guys from the conference, asking them to help me. And then I all of a sudden just had this like thought, and it was like, let it go. And I was like, okay, that's okay. Yeah, I could let it go. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I could sell it. I could, maybe give it to my little sister. I could, like, and it was just like, let it go. And I just kept sitting with this feeling of let it go. And then I just had this like peace that I did let it go. Like, on a subconscious level, I was done carrying this energetic thing with me every freaking place I go. Always pulling it out, seeing it multiple times a day. Like, it's so interesting how things really work out for you when you just start to actually become aware of what's really going on, because this world is not just as we think it is. It is so much deeper and more complex. And when you can really start to pay attention to what's actually going on in your world, you start to have a lot more clarity. You start to, it's like you appreciate yourself more. You love yourself more. You fall in love with yourself more because you're like, okay, you know what? My soul's leading me. I left that wallet for a reason. There was nothing in it. There was no cash. There was nothing in it that I needed. I ran, I even went on, like, they told me they got the car from Avis, and I'm like searching the last name. They said they couldn't find it. And it was like I was going through all of these hoops to try to get this wallet that an ex-boyfriend gave me years and years ago that is holding such an energetic cord to it. And it happened right after I told the story. And so all of a sudden, like, my brain was like, click, 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 click. Do you understand what's happening? Like, you let it go. Just let it go. Stop trying to go get the thing that you don't even want anymore. You can go get a new Louis wallet. You can go get any wallet. It doesn't need to be designer. It could be anything. You could go get a flower wallet. Like, stop trying to find it. You let it go. And I realized, I was like, you know what? You're right. So I ended up like texting the guys and like, don't worry about it. I don't want it. Like, just forget it. I'm letting it go. I don't want it. I canceled all my cards. I think some of my new cards are here. Actually, need to go check the mail. But I, again, it's so symbolic of everything happening in my life. Like, and how when you start to detach, you'll start to do things, but it's like the universe will test you. Like, are you really ready to let go? Like, do you really say you're ready because you just gave away this thing to the universe? I left it in a rental car. Like, how am I supposed to get that back? And who in their right mind is going to return a Louis Vuitton wallet? So hopefully whoever found it keeps it and enjoys it because it is a nice wallet, or you sell it and make some money. Wherever that wallet is, I'm just glad that it is not anymore in my world. And it really taught me a lot about detachment. It really taught me a lot about like energetic cords, because I don't believe in coincidences. I think everything is orchestrated and everything happens for a reason. I really do actually believe that. And so the fact that I let it go, and then I had a vision of me putting it in the glove box, it was like a double whammy of like, let it go. And then I'm like spending all the this time and energy trying to get it back. And it was just like, you did that for a reason, Whitney. Let it go. And so that is really something significant that's happened to me recently in my life. And that's really helped me to move forward on a personal level, an energetic level, a subconscious level. And really, like, this little story actually helps me trust myself so much more, because it was like my higher self knew I need to let this go. I need to be done with this part of me, and I need to just give it to the universe. It needs to be in out of my hands. Literally, I let this wallet go right after I told the story. So I want to just bring that in, because on top of that, there's also other things going on in my life that happened, and I'm not going to talk about them yet, but I will talk about it. But this whole past week, I've really been signaled with my internal reality to start really focusing on detachment, to start really focus and be intentional about what I'm giving my focus to and what I'm giving my attention to, and making sure that I'm learning these lessons and I'm not continuing the same cycle, because we keep getting the same exact cycle in life until we actually break the cycle, until we can actually realize that we've learned the lesson that we need to learn. And so last week was just a massive signal to my world that I need to continue to open my heart and live my best life and be around people and open myself up, but also not be attached to any outcomes at all right now. That, like, everything that I'm going through, every person I meet, every situation, every door I walk through is trying to allow me the opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve. And the way that I do that is by being aware, enjoying the moment, and then stepping back and not being attached to these outcomes or anything that's going on. And I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit difficult because I'm not kind of going into the details of the other thing that was going on, but I really want to talk about relationships for a minute, because personally, I have been very closed off to relationships. I've been really focusing on my healing, myself, my life path, finding my purpose, figuring out like why I've gone through all of these things and how I can push forward in the world and help other people. And so in my journey through learning all of this in the past couple of years, I've been very closed off to letting anyone in my bubble. A lot of that is because of fear. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to slow down what I'm doing. And I don't want to worry about anyone else in my life looking in, judging me, or, oh my gosh, are they watching me? What do they think? Like all of these things that just spiral in a woman's head, and men, but I don't know because I'm a woman. So I can't really talk to like the male brain. But for women, when it comes to relationships and opening your heart and letting the masculine energy in, it's a very touchy subject. For me, it's very fragile. And I will say that I'm a more fast and furious type of girl, like fast and furious type of woman. And that's something I'm learning, and that's something that I'm really having to come into my body and really ask myself, like, what feels right for me, what doesn't. Like, how can I enjoy these moments but detach from them and not rush into anything and not let my mind spiral in the possibilities or all of the things. And I really feel like this is something that I'm slowly learning about myself and having to really take slowly, because when you do have the personality like I have, which is just very like go, go, go. I like to be out and about. I really like being around people. I like being in entertaining environments, and I like to laugh and I like to commune with people. And when I do this, sometimes I can get really wrapped up in one thing instead of just like allowing my world to show me what it needs to show me in the right timing. And I really believe that when it comes to detachment in relationships and friendships, but also like relationships, I think that it's something that we all really struggle with, because we're so afraid of putting ourselves out there and then getting left in the dust or getting stomped on and crushed and being heartbroken. And for me, this is something that I'm really like learning. I'm really trying to be sensitive with myself. And I'm also trying to learn that I'd rather open myself up and commune with others, but I would rather be alone than give all my attention and energy to anyone or anything that does not serve my highest self. And I really think that when it comes to detachment in relationships, we really have to be cautious and sensitive with ourselves to recognize how we're feeling in these moments and realize that it's okay to open yourself up and talk and commune. But remember that it's also okay to detach and let go. And really, like the picture I have in my head is like letting something go, like a boomerang. And if it's meant for you, it will come back. And I know that that is way harder said than I'm a woman. I one day, want to have this like beautiful life with someone and share. I also have to realize that no matter what, in the process of finding that person, I have to open myself up and realize that I could get hurt. And at the end of the day, it will be okay. When you really start to go on this journey of loving yourself, opening yourself up to other people, and realizing the art of detachment, because that is what it is. Detachment is allowing and loving yourself enough to let everything go, and realizing that when you do get to the point where you can be detached from things, you start to see the world in color again, because you're letting go of everything that keeps you small, that keeps you trapped, that keeps you stuck. And instead of just opening yourself up and being like, what's meant for me will find me, it'll come to me. You are stepping into your power when you can learn to detach and do these things. When you detach and you can really start to figure this out for yourself, you start to become in alignment with your true self, because you're listening to your higher self. Your higher self is telling you, is guiding you, you're listening, and you're following that path for you. You start to become aligned with your true highest self. And then what happens is when you're aligned, you become a magnet, because we live in a world, in a universe that is attraction based. So like attracts like. So when you are aligned with your true highest self, you are a magnet, and you start to attract the right things. But you're attracting, you're not chasing, you're not forcing, you're not pushing, you're not doing any of these things. You're just allowing situations to come to you because you are aligned. And alignment for me has been something so powerful. And I genuinely believe that I am aligned, and I'm still, learning all about this and really focusing on alignment. But I do feel like if there are times where I come out of alignment, I'm now at the point where I know myself to where I could kind of bounce back into alignment pretty quickly. But that took me 2.5 years of fine tuning my frequency and tuning myself to where I need to be and how I need to be aligned for my truest and highest self to come through, and for me to trust that it's speaking to me, and that I can trust that and actually follow that path. Your ego wants to keep you safe. So when we talk about detachment, again, we're not taught this in school. And I really wish that we were, but hopefully now our generation, we can start to teach our children these things, and we can start to really push this knowledge out into the world, because this is knowledge that if we would have been taught this, we would be like so much more evolved. But now it's our duty to teach and to live our lives this way. So when it comes to detachment, you have your ego and you have your higher self. Your ego is always trying to keep you stuck. It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you in the same place. It tries to tell you that change is scary. Don't, go after change. Just keep working the 9 to 5. Keep staying in this horrible relationship that makes you feel like trash, and this person that treats you like trash. Just keep doing that. Don't divert. Don't go into the unknown. The unknown's scary. You don't know. Like, that's all the ego. That's all the chaos. That's all the darkness within you that just gets louder and louder and louder and more dark and depressing, and traps you in an insane way that you don't even know what's happening until you're like so far down that now your life is spiraling out of control, because your higher self is not able to speak to you at all, because all you're listening to is the ego, that fear based, that low vibrating frequency. Fear is the lowest vibrating frequency that we have. That's why the news is always pushing out so much fear and so much trauma, just trying to keep you lower, because when you're low, it's very hard to get out of the low places, but it's not impossible. And this art of detachment is how you're going to get from the low frequency up to your highest vibrating self, up to your highest frequency. So that's your ego. Your higher self is always aligned. Your higher self is always happy. Your higher self is always speaking to you. Your higher self is always trying to lead you and guide you where you need to be going. And that is the yin and the yang. That is the light and the dark. Like, we have the ego side that we're not taught about, and we're taught to like shun it, run away from it, but we're also taught to like dive deep into that and spiral out of control into that. So you have this dark side, and then you have this light side, and you have this beautiful being that is with you always, that is always speaking to you, that loves you so much, that sees the future, that's living in the future. And it's your responsibility to be able to bring the two together and to heal that ego part of you, and to realize that the ego is literally trying to keep you safe. And when you start to detach from these egotistical things that are happening into your life, when you start to detach from those and you start to listen to your higher self, and you start to get out of that fear-based life and that fear-based mentality, and you can swing to the other side, you start to love yourself more. You start to trust yourself more. You start to realize that you can detach and you can live in a more blissful, beautiful place, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, all the things. But it takes you to be very intentional with, what are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your soul daily? Are you constantly surrounding yourself with people that don't make you feel good, that lower your vibration? Are you listening to music that isn't uplifting and it is raunchy and dirty and degrades people, or is just vibrating really low? Are you listening to any self-help, or are you, just not reading anything? Like, you have to really start to shift to the other side of your higher self, out of your ego, to allow yourself to start to detach from your ego, to trust this higher side of you that is meant to shine, that is meant to lead you and guide you into exactly where you're meant to be. Last week, I feel like I just had so much going on. Something that I did, which I knew I needed to do, but I actually didn't do it for days because I was just so wrapped in my own mind. So finally, after days of spiraling and just not understanding why certain things were going on, I popped out my journal and I just journaled everything, and letting that out, instead of just talking to my friends and asking for advice, and just really being with myself, and just, it was like I was just talking to my higher self. Like, we were just communing on paper. When I journaled, I was able to kind of dump all of this stuff that was like going on inside of me energetically. And when I was done journaling, I felt like a weight had lifted off of me. I felt like I could move forward again. Like, okay, yep, let that out. Like, whatever. Sometimes you just got to get your body moving, and you got to let these emotions, and you got to get this energy that's stuck in your body out. And so journaling is a great way to do that. If you're really spiraling out of control, maybe you're in a relationship, or you're talking to someone and you're just like, your mind is all over the place. One thing that will really help you is to just be with yourself, turn everything off, and just journal through it. And like, I ended up writing like 3 pages, and I could have written more, but I was in a rush because I had to go work. I think I'm going to actually journal about more of that tonight, because just allowing yourself a place to just vomit out whatever you need on paper and put that down is so healing and freeing. It's crazy. So if you need to find something to help you detach, write something down. Another thing that I've personally been doing to like get this energy out of my body is putting my headphones in and sprinting on the beach. I'll run anywhere from 1.5 to 2 miles, and I just sprint until I can't run anymore. And then I walk, let my heart rate come, and I just keep going. And this process for me is building my endurance, but it's also, it's so weird. It makes me feel so powerful, and it makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something that's so hard. So, and like hurts, so that when I come into my reality, I'm like, I can handle hard things that hurt. I really can, because on a physical level, I'm doing that. So mentally and emotionally, I can also do that. I can go through hard things that are painful, and it's going to be okay. But making sure that you are always pushing forward for your highest and best self to come through is really what is going to break you out of these spiraling, anxious feelings that you have going on inside of you. You have to find ways to let this stuff out so that you can start to detach. Because when you don't let the energy out, the energy stays stored in your body and it just keeps spinning. You have to force it out. You have to let it out. You have to allow yourself to detach, and you have to be intentional with detaching. Obviously, you can also talk to people, but at the end of the day, I really believe that your soul will tell you. And you might not get it right the first time. This is all a practice. Listening to your heart, listening to your soul, listening to your higher self is a practice. And you might not get it right every time, but you're gonna get it right most of the time. And if you can just learn that your higher self is speaking to you and you try, you're going to get so much further in life, because that's just what's happening. It's literally what is happening. So when you talk to friends, or you need to talk to someone about what's going on, get advice, but remember that they don't know what's best for you. And in these situations too, where maybe you're blinded by something because you're in love, or you are in a relationship that you're just like clinging on to, and you're really struggling with like the idea of just letting this situationship go. When you talk to your friends, listen to what they say, but also detach from that and ask yourself, like, okay, this is the advice I got. What feels right for me? What feels good for me? And when you can do that, you are going to grow so much spiritually, and you are going to be mind blown with how your life starts to turn out, because you're getting advice, but then you're also trying to trust yourself, and you're trying to do things that move your needle forward. And again, sometimes when you talk to people, you can get all of this outside influence that actually can make your situation worse. So, all in all, detachment is such a art, but it is a very powerful tool that we have as human beings to know genuinely deep down. And I know people say this all the time, but it is true. Like, what's meant for you will find you, because you will start to become aligned, and you will be a magnet for that. So, yeah, that is my story and everything going on in this past week in my world, in my life. And the big lesson that I have been taught and I'm learning is detachment, and just not being attached to anything externally, and really internally and energetically following my soul, my higher self, the soul callings that I feel, and doing things that make me feel good, and not attaching myself to things that make me feel less than or stressed out. And again, I know that this is harder said than done. And it is also something I'm still working on. I mean, as I start to go out and open myself up and start, meeting more people and dating, and I just am in this whole world, I really have to learn to detach and make sure that, in this whole world, I'm not just being love bombed and being told all the right things, but not being treated the way that I should be treated. And it's the same for you. So I'm really having to learn the art of detachment and trust myself. And I'm excited to keep talking to all of you guys and to keep being as honest as I can, because I do believe that this is my calling. I do believe that I am meant to do this, that this is part of my purpose, is to be open and honest, because I want my life experience to help you, and I want what I learn and go through to help you. So maybe you don't have to learn and go through the same things that I've had to learn and go through. So once we can learn the art of detachment and really start to embody that and practice it, I do believe that we are going to come to a more healed, whole, aligned version of ourselves, because we're allowing things that are meant to be, and things that aren't. So I really hope this resonated with you guys. I love you so much. Please, if you guys could like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it. Leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, send me a DM. Please tag me on social media while you're listening to this. I love it so much. It really brings me joy. I've been getting so many DMs and text messages and phone calls from people just telling me that they're proud of me, they love me, and sharing with you guys has been helping them. And it's been helping them see their life differently and helping them open up and trust themselves more and be more aligned with who they really are. So I really appreciate you guys, your love and support. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope that you have an incredible day or evening wherever you're at. I really hope that you are just showered and blessed with the most abundance, with the most beautiful life ever and forever. So I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you next week. And as always, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go.
Past knocking, shoulda answered knock. Scales dead, shoulda charged them all up. Shoulda set it on the table and go. Will I ever stand rooted and grow? Past knocking, shoulda answered knock. Scales dead, shoulda charged them all up. Shoulda set it on the table and go. Will I ever stand rooted and grow? I don't know. I can't see, blinded by a color of the shade I can't be. Sliding down dolo cause I'm tired trying to creep on I-25 speed slurred it may be. Time for a refresh, I reset to be best, but this mess that I am may need check. Like a mic on the stand, I slam my band like Nirvana Kurt jamming through a speaker. Through a tweet I break my escape from a pain like a drug I take or a drink you sip. I think she found me lit, sitting over this city with a tear that drip. So a hard not here. I thought I'd find it at the end, but I ended up empty-handed, puddled in the bins. I can't find my way, path fades like stray. Past knocking, shoulda answered knock. Scales dead, shoulda charged them all up. Shoulda set it on the table and go. Will I ever stand rooted and grow? Past knocking, shoulda answered knock. Scales dead, shoulda charged them all up. Shoulda set it on the table and go. Will I ever stand rooted and grow? So where you read that, I'ma need that eulogy to cry and hear my name up on the feedback. Staring at a casket, looking down and looking trapped. Yeah, 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 yeah. Past knocking, shoulda answered nah. Scales dead, shoulda charged them all up. Shoulda set it on the table and go. Will I ever stand rooted and grow? Past knocking, shoulda answered nah. Scales dead, shoulda charged them all up. Shoulda set it on the table and go.